Good morning, my friends. Just give me a second. You're gonna wait if this starts and if the sound is going well, right? Because today I'm going to use this mic, which I bought in the few months ago, but really never use it properly, and I want to use it now. So we see if it works well. Let me know if there is a problem, but I think it should be all right. Okay, so that was quite nice week, right? So are we getting this sound? Um, Morning, good morning, guys. Do we have sound? We will see. It should be all right. Okay, so we start. Okay, first thing I want to say, basically this week, I've been sticking to the plan. Okay, good, we have sound. Okay, so I've been sticking to the plan, right? So as last week I told you that I will probably be skipping Monday, right? Because based on the statistical data, the Monday is not that good for me, right? So basically, I have skipped the Monday. I let we hear you, great, right? So we let the Monday ranges to be formed, right? And then we took the trades, right? So basically I had just these three trades I posted here on the trading view also, right? We will look at them a little bit right now. So it's GBP, this weekly CLS, right? Where we had this weekly CLS, right? Then slight manipulation into the key level, right? But on the lower time frame, the signal was that price has closed below that 4 hours range, right? Because from the weekly, we need to see 4 hours change in order flow, right? Then price dropped nicely down in here, right? I don't know, guys, if you're using this, but if you're following me and you just might want to get some inspiration, you can always click this, right? Grab this chart and look. It will opens this chart exactly as it is, right? Even before it happens, right? So you have all my drawings and I can help you, right? But don't get lazy with that. But you see, right? So in here, we have, this is what you have there on the daily, right? Actually 4 hours or 6 hours was it, right? Maybe. And then if you go lower time frame, like 1 hour, right? So you can clearly see, what was the level, what was the intention, right? Where we had this order block, right? Price closed below it. It has also happened on the 4 hour side, which would be in here, right? But then once that happens, once you have a order block created, once this candle in here, right, closes below this one, right, then you can enter the short immediately, right, on the next candle. But it depends on the time frame and the time, right? You can see this has happened at the 16 o'clock European time, right? So that's mostly when we have the London session behind us and almost end of the New York session, right? So then if you put this into the context, then it's better to wait, right? To wait for the pullback into where, right? You obviously can measure everything in here, but mostly it's going to be some fair value gap inside of this, right? So that's where the price went, right? And that's exactly this gap, right, which I have highlighted in here, right? So you can see I have seen the price close lower, and this is the gap I have had there, right? I mean, expecting price going into there, right? So where am I? Here, right? So this is that gap, right? You can see how perfectly that played the next day, right? So the short was possible, and we could be targeting this candle, right? What was that? Right? These two equal lows and also this midpoint of that CLS range, right? And that's the model number one, right? I am not gonna trade model number two, right? Which I will later show you why. Now let's break down another trade, which was a euro, right? Again, we had the Monday range created, right? Tuesday manipulation, right? then price closing below here. It's not seen here on this trading view because it's a 1 hour, and then that candle closed below, right? So, and this is how it played, right? So we have this created in here, right? Then price pullbacks, right, into here, right? So you don't need to be exact in here, but also I've been looking for this fair value gap in here with entry here, stop above, right? And I've been targeting just this 50%, right? That's a model number one. This is the 50%. Then in here has played the model number two, right? Pullback 61.8 FIP, right? And sell off, right? I didn't had this second one. I had just the trade from here, right? I had entered in here and I closed most of my positions. Some of them I closed during here, right? Then it dropped exactly into the 50%, right? That's what I want to focus, right? Do not want to be overcomplicated, right? Then if I hold it all the way down here, it would reach it, but I didn't have this trade, right? And all of this was good morning, Akash, BTC. Yeah, we will look to the BTC, right? And in here we have again, right, Monday range on the Bitcoin, on the dollar index, right? Then price dropped lower, right? Tuesday, right? So you have basically in here you can see accumulation, right? Manipulation, and now we have close above this down candle and we are back in this range, right? Also we have the support in here, right? Then you can see how I drew this line, right? I was thinking like, okay, price has created the order block right now. Now it could pull back into the gap, right? This is a gap on the dollar index, right? Look, right? How the price dropped exactly into this gap, right? This candle has been supporting, right? And gave us model 1, right? Then was a model 2, right? Exactly into these highs, right? I am not going to speculate about price going too much high, right? So I didn't have actually any trade on the dollar index, right? But it was the conference. And this was just these 3 trades I had on my these pairs, right? And it's fucking enough, right? So I basically didn't wasted my capital and mainly I didn't wasted my energy, right? Like a psycho capital to enter the on the Monday too early, right? I basically waited for the high probability setups based on my statistical data, right? Again, if we go to the statistical data, look, now it uploads, right? And look what was the most profitable for me, right? Tuesday, 73% winning ratio, right? Monday, just 50%, right? And then model number 1, 74%, right? So I've been waiting for the Tuesday and model number 1 to play out in the New York session, right? You see, we've been entering in the New York session. So I basically followed this data, which I have thanks to the collecting all the data of my trades, and I did what is the best thing based on this data for me, right? And you see, it fucking worked nicely, right? On the Monday, I didn't do anything. I simply completely ignored any charts, right? Any noise, didn't need to be waiting for the market to open and immediately try to do something, right? And this is exactly how I want to do that, right? So I'm glad for this week that I followed this trading plan, right? Right now, let's look at the charts. What I'm seeing in here, right? So this one we don't need because it's closed. This is a trading view. We don't need it also. Here we are, right? So here is a dollar index, right? And now again, I start analysis from the beginning, right? So here we have daily, right? Something has played out in here, right? So again, look how daily candles closing, right? Where is the liquidity? Down here, right? Down here, right? Yes, we had before we had the key level in here, right? I'm not sure it is exactly like that, right? I mean, it was a, it was, this level, right? This weekly order block in here, where we're getting this reaction, right? It's fine. We had the one reaction from there, right? But once the price comes into the level and play out some pullback, like in the counter trend, you cannot take this level again, right? So for us, this level is done, right? If we get a close, if we get a strong close, right, above this, right, like should be like here, right, green, then it actually would create a order block in here, right, and then we can get a pullback and then maybe some move upside, right? But today we have this, right? It's a bank holiday. I don't think the price will move somehow too much, right? But also, based on my statistical data, look, Friday, just 66% risk winning ratio, right? I don't need that, right? I'm basically done for the week. I did the most highest probability thing I could do, right? So right now, again, let's go back here, right? This is daily. Based on the candle closes, price should still go down here, right? We just right now waiting for a pullback, right? So what I have highlighted in here, right? If the price closes above here, then we get a change in order flow on the lower time frame, right? And we can go higher, right? But still, look, this is what I have highlighted as a CLS range, right? And if we look to the weekly, right, look, depends on obviously how this week is going to close, right? It can go higher like that, right? And that might be changing the situation a little bit more, right? But if it doesn't happen, right? So then, and we close somewhere down here, right? Then we have this week closing below that week, right? So liquidity is lower down here, right? And then we're gonna have this gap here, right? So then we're gonna have a perfect weekly candle in here with the logical continuation to these lows, right? And then the next week, if we get above into this fair value gap, above this current week, right, into this gap, then we shorting, right, dollar index. So not trying to. And if you ask about a trade right now, what trade right now? Look, it's not your time, right? It's not your time. I'm obviously not saying that some traders cannot trade it. There will be definitely traders who have some strategy, right? Maybe they can be entering this trend line break and retest, right? Or whatever. I don't care. My strategy, and if you trade with me, our strategy, right, is not saying anything, right? We have this 4-hour CLS range. We are in the midpoint of it, right? We know price could go lower, right? So we want to be shorting, and we want to be shorting highs, right? So we played what has the highest probability in here. This is what I have in my charts, right? And waiting until it gives me some setup, right? Obviously, I would be interested to see how it's going to play, right? So what I'm going to set up in here is the alert, and I will be setting up as a exiting the channel, right? So if the price goes out from the channel in here or down here, I will get the message. Anything what's happening inside of it, I don't care, right? So that's on the dollar. Here is the euro, right? We had that trade. Now again, if I go daily, right, look how the candles are closing, right? You see, so liquidity should be in here, right? Also, we have these two equal highs, quite close to each other, right? So most likely they could be reached, right? And this is what's happening here, right? Price has dropped lower. Here is a gap, right? Weekly opening gap. Price closed here. Next week has opened in here, right? That's where the price dropped lower, right? So it's down here now, and what I am interested personally, right? Maybe you already know, I would be interested in the longs, right? But not here, not in here, because what I would have to do, right? Where would I put stop loss? If I try to hide here or here, right? That's not gonna be good. And if I try to hide here to get just this trade, that's also not wise, right? So going lower time frame, right? For me, this is CLS range, right? I'm not going to be shorting because I do not want to put my stop loss above this, right? And also not above this, right? Because we think that the price can go there based on our statistics, right? I mean, based on our view, how we analyze the markets, right? So, yeah, if we then next week, look at the weekly, right? Look. So if this week is going to close something like this, right? Like here, above here, right? Then we're gonna get this weekly gap in here, right? And that would be where I will be next week looking for a long continuation, right? Currently, I have just this 4 hours in here, right? But it's going to be again Monday. I will not be doing anything, and I'll come on the Tuesday, right? And maybe there will be some Monday range formed in here, right? We don't know, right? Yes, obviously, if the Monday range, and I think it's going to be playing like that, right? But I'm not going to bet on the short in here, right? Because I would have to trade against and put my stop loss in here, right? Basically, it's not time for me to be in the markets, right? So something like that is something what I have in my mind, right? But I'm obviously not thinking, okay, it's going to play like that, right? I have my mind opened and waiting for the things strategy played out yesterday night, right? Okay. So what I'm going to highlight here, right? Again, same as on the other one, right? Look, we have this range, right? And again, I'm going to add this exiting channel, right, alarm, right? So I'm going to receive once the price start to do anything in there, right? Obviously, because we're reacting from this gap in here, right, and it was below the Monday range, right, it can obviously go up, right? So whatever, right? Not my situation, right? Same thing is on the pound, right? Here's actually a little bit different. Let's look at the weekly, right? So we had a strong week close, right? Now we are trading inside of it, right? We did this pullback, right? But on daily, again, look, the highest close, right, is here, right? Here is most likely a liquidity, and price has dropped down, right? Price has dropped down into here, into this order block, and also into this fair value gap, right? So really would like to see something like this, right? That would be really great if this wick, down wick, right, is taken, right, and price reacts from some level in here, which could be this, right, this inverted fair value gap, right? So I would be again interested probably only in the longs, right? So that's for this GBP. Now let's look to the other pairs, right? Yesterday during the Hyro stream, I've been taking these shorts, right? I don't know if you've been on the streams. Let me know if you're joining, guys. I basically completely explained all these trades, right? Then how do you precisely identify OB perfectly, right? So I've been explaining these trades, then I closed them because it was before I went sleep, right? So I closed some decent loss in here, right? And then I reopened today. So I'm again in these trades, right? Here's the Ethereum, right? Running. Still same thing, right? We have a daily CLS range, manipulation. Look at the daily, how does it look like, right? So we have a daily range, manipulation, now sending down, right? Where I'm targeting it, 50%, right? I'm not looking for anything else, right? Look at the BTC, right? Same thing, daily range, manipulation, I'm targeting 50%, right? Same thing on the Solana, right? Daily range, here was actually weekly range, right? Look, we have this weekly range, right? Based on the candle closes, liquidity is down here, right? Manipulation on the 4 hours, you're looking for a order block to be created, right? It has happened in here, right? Then price retracing inside, right? Midpoint of this order block, right? Then create another one, and then it's starting to go lower. So right now I have these trades on the prop firm account, right? And it looks good, right? 500, 800, 600, right? Last week I took out 10K, and if these trades will work, it's going to be like a 5K maybe, so it's amazing. Right, now some questions. Good morning, Mr. Wale. Can you check CatJPY? Guys, this is my trading pairs, and I simply decided to throw off a lot of bullshits. It's distracting me. Yes, there is opportunities, nice, but I'm not going to waste my time with the other pairs. Everything works best for me on just these 3 pairs and on just these 3 crypto pairs, right? So, sorry, I'm not going to waste my time with some other pairs, right? On a risk management, do you open multiple positions on like BTC Solana? Wouldn't be better to take the strongest assets and put more risk on? No, they correlate, and I basically trade all of them together, right? So makes sense to me, right? Which one is the strongest, right? You don't know which one is the strongest. They mostly go in the correlation, right? And if you focus on just on the few pairs, like I'm doing in here, you will soon start to see kind of how they behave, right? Because the Solana is very volatile because it has a quite lower cap, much lower cap than Bitcoin, right? And look, we had the range has been created in here, and here was already the change in the order flow, right? So Solana was actually already preparing the setup in here, and it has started to play in here, right? Now, Ethereum, right, was still going up and doing its thing, right? And look, the Bitcoin was the latest one, right? So if you start to see something happening on the Solana, and then you see confirmation on the Bitcoin, right, that the Bitcoin is going above some highs into a key level, right, then it can give you the conclusion, right? Obviously, don't think that when the Solana starts to drop that the Bitcoin will follow, right? I mean that if the Solana and the Ethereum start to give you some conclusions and then Bitcoin confirms that, then everything is ready, right? Yeah, so that's how we do that, right? How do you precisely identify order block, right? Let me I've been actually explaining order block. Already, my friend, but give me second. Where is my here? Right. No problem to repeat it, my friend. Here, right? So the order block is basically the last down candle or the consecutive candles, right? It depends. There is a ways how to decide which one, right? But what's the most important is that you need to see displacement, right? You need to see the strong move, right? And closing above the highs, right? Or above this down candle. It has to be in the liquidity, right? Below some lows, and also in the discount or the premium, right? If there is no liquidity taken, the order block is a low probability. So what does it mean? Let me show you, right? This is order block, right? Let me actually show you like this, right? These up candles, right? All of them are order block, and we will put some color so we can see it clearly, like this, right? So here, all of these up candles, right, are creating the order block. Right? Once the price closes below this, the order block is confirmed, right? But this order block has to be in the premium, right? So if we measure this move, right, discount, premium, and also from here, right, discount, premium, right, it actually should be like this. Sorry. Right, discount, premium. So it's been in the premium, right? If you have an order block in here, right, so you have the up candles, right, because same thing what we have applied in here, you can basically do it on here, right, on these up candles, right, and then it has closed below, right, and then price retest again, you would be expecting the short, right? But why it is valid, this close below, right, retest and the short? So why it is valid in here but not in here, right? Look, now I'll show you, right? Because in here, if you measure this, let me remove actually this one, right? In here, and I can extend this one, right? This is in the discount, right? So if you measure this Fibonacci 50% is happening in the discount. Also, these highs of this order block are not taking any liquidity. You see, you still have the highs above in here, right? While this order block higher, it's already in the above the 50%, and look, it's going to take liquidity in here, right? So basically what has happened in here? The traders has entered in here. So there was a traders which been stopped out, and also the traders who maybe entered the longs, right? So that's the difference, right? When the order block will work or not, right? Right, the liquidity is basically above the highs and lows, right? That's where the traders are putting their stop losses, buy stops, sell stops, right? That's the liquidity. So that's how I would describe that. Now, what was the next thing? Right? Yes, it must have this liquidity sweep, right? It has to be located in the discount for the bullishness, right? And in the premium for the shorts, right? It has to have a fair value gaps, right? You want to see a fair value gap in there, right? It should be a strong move. It should be a strong move created in here, right? So look again. If we compare these up candles in here, right, you don't have really fair value gaps in here, right? You don't have fair value gap up, you don't have, here is a small gap, right? And then this breakdown, really not strong fair value gap, right? But in this one, you can see, right? Here's the gap up, right? So the big players has been trading, right? And then there is a gap down, right? So again, that's a signs of the big money trading, right? In here, it's really not it's like a too tight, right? Wrongly placed, right? So in the fact to recognize the order block, was the most important thing in the recognition of the high probability order block is not only to spotting the last up candles and closing below that, right? That everyone can do that, right? but the right context in the market, right? Because not everything would be valid, right? And that's why we're using this dealing range, these gaps, this liquidity that was tell us which level could probably work and which could not, right? So that's how I would define that, right? So here's this ETH, right? And that's it. Okay, my friends, so this is how I would close it. I'm sorry, my friend, for this, for refusing to analyze the CatJPY, but I decided I'm not gonna do that. I want to have easy life. I want to focus just on the highest probability things, right? And uh, just what works, right? Which is model number 1, and just on these pairs, right? And I suggest really, I don't say that you cannot trade many pairs, right? Back in the days, I've been trading many pairs, right? But why would I do it right now when just these 6 things is enough, right? You can see I had the trades on each of them this week, and it will be nice profits in my opinion, right? We will see. Obviously anything can happen. This doesn't mean anything, right? I still not have win, right? So yeah, so it's more accurate around the support resistance line and the change of the character. Well, I'm not using the change of the character, my friend. Soon I will release next week. My free basic training base camp will be released, and you will see why I'm not using this, and I'm not using the support resistance lines, right? I mean, obviously, yes. If you draw a support, right, classic support, which you drawing in the levels where the price has been reacted as many times, right, in here, right, so it should be in here, right, and then you go and you draw the line in here, right, then it's obviously a resistance, right? But I'm not looking at it this way, right? You need to, what you need to do, my friend, what I have told you right now about the order block, what you need to do to get confident, you need to backtest it, right? You need to run the back tests and see, right, okay, this time it didn't work. Was it in the premium or discount, right? Was it like this? Was it like that, right? And by having a lot of examples tested by yourself, you will get confident, right? You will feel what's working. You will get in a sync with the markets perfectly, right? And the most important thing is to do the journal, because you will find out what's working for you, right? I mean, I've been using a fair value gaps, breaker, all of these things, but then I realized that what's the most profitable for me is just using a perfect order block, right? So what I have done is I simply mastered the order blocks, and that's where all my trades are coming from, right? From the order block. Most of it, it's just a order block, right? So far for this month, I have this, right? So I have this win on the euro, right? I have this winning trade. It was multiple trades, right, on the pound. And I had just another one more scalp here, right, which was based on the accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right, from the order block, right. So this one I called like model 0, because it's not completely based on the CLS strategy, but just on the relationship between sessions and higher time frame directions, right. Thank you so much. Yes, my friend. So wait, this free base camp, I think it's great. I have put a lot of effort into that. So even if you don't buy a full course or don't pay me anything, I think it can help you, right? But you need to do the work. You need to do the work. You need to commit few months to the one thing, right? And don't trust me that I'm saying it's working or showing you the results, which I think are pretty consistent, because it doesn't have to work for everyone, right? But you will get inspired, and you will create a little bit your version of what I am doing, right? So basically, what's the best way to learn is find someone who has made it in the trading, maybe someone else than me, maybe me, right? Learn what this person is doing and adapt what is useful for you, and master it, and then you will explore something else, especially about yourself, what works, right? And you will create your own strategy, right? So basically, this what I'm doing in here is not completely my it's not completely my I would say uh, discovery or something like that. This is basically all the results of putting the things together, right? Filtering what's working, what's not, right? And then making it into what's how I feel comfortable in trades, what makes sense to me, right? How I think that the markets are working, right? And that's how I came into this strategy, right? And you see, I'm still improving, right? Currently, based on the data, right, removing Monday from my trading, right? And you see, I have removed the many pairs, right? And I'm just here focusing to the 6 things in the specific times, specific days, right? And I see it's what's powerful, right? Because we didn't start to trade that we want to trade all of these pairs, all of these everything, right? Having a trade every day, right? Trading should be a tool to make money and make the life better, right? And life is better when we are not sitting behind the computers, right? So I'm going to stop it into here. I just started to talk too much again, and I don't want to bore you. Have a great weekend, my friends. Obviously, don't forget to do the review of the week, and I will be probably analyzing the markets on the Monday, right? So actually Monday evening, because I will let again the Monday range play, right? And I will slowly prepare on the Monday to execute on the Tuesday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maximum focus. Monday and Friday, we want to be out of the trades, right? So let's see how this is gonna play out. Have a great rest